Tonight, politicians, both provincially and federally, are up in arms about the upcoming carbon tax increase. Plus, Canadian Para-Nordic athlete Rens has performed extremely well at the Games, earning several medals. And CNC is looking into creating a new course aimed at teaching food security. Good evening, folks. I'm Eddie Huband, and welcome to CKPG News. We begin tonight with a hot-button issue that's been divisive for many Canadians for years now. The federal carbon tax is set to increase on April 1st. The reaction to the increase has been swift and strong from politicians both provincially and federally. Adam Burles brings us tonight's top story.
The federal carbon tax will be going up on April 1st, and premiers across Canada, from Newfoundland and Labrador to Alberta, have been calling for a halt, citing affordability concerns. And among those concerned here in BC are provincial opposition leaders.
The NDP have more than doubled the carbon tax, and on April 1st, the Premier plans to hike it by 23%, a cruel April Fool's joke on the public. And while the BC United opposition has repeatedly called for slashing the tax, this NDP Premier wants to hike the carbon tax yet again. So my question to the Premier, with British Columbians struggling to eat, heat, and house themselves, will this Premier spike the hike and cancel the planned 23% carbon tax hike on April the 1st?
Provinces can decide to voluntarily adopt the federal pricing system, but if a province doesn't implement a price on carbon pollution, they are subject to the federal pricing system. BC has their own carbon pricing system in place, and the government says that increases in the tax go back to British Columbians through a tax credit.
We've structured the carbon tax in a way that returns money to low and middle income British Columbians, which of course would not happen if we ceased the carbon tax. What we do with the increases in the carbon tax is give 100% of it back to British Columbians in the climate action tax credit.
The April 1st increase will be felt mostly at the pumps and through energy bills.
After the increase on April 1, the carbon tax will cost 17 cents a litre of gas, 21 cents per litre of diesel, and 15 cents per cubic metre of natural gas.
George Heyman says that the government has doubled the tax credit to reflect the increase.
Mr. Speaker, we've doubled the portion of the carbon tax going back to British Columbians in the climate action tax credit for low and middle income British Columbians. That's what we're doing for British Columbians.
BC's carbon tax is set to rise from $65 a tonne to $80 a tonne on April 1st. Adam Burles, CKPG News.
Many community members gathered outside the RCMP detachment just minutes ago to raise awareness about the case of Brittany Jean Shram. Brittany Jean Shram was recently announced deceased by the RCMP earlier this week after initially being reported missing on January 10th. She was 28 years old, and RCMP say her death was not considered suspicious and no criminality was involved. However, the community members gathered, including Brittany's sister, Jean Felix, saying the RCMP's investigation was unacceptable, as they say her case was not treated seriously and with the urgency that it deserved.
These are people's family members. These are like my sister was loved very, very much. And right from the beginning, we said it was out of character and nobody took us serious. Nobody took the things that we were telling them serious. And I believe the ball in the justice system has a huge gap. Police were not able to really follow up on tips and information that we were providing in a timely manner. 3 months is a very long time, and then for her to just show up out of the blue is not acceptable.
In other news, Canadian athlete Rens has been a dominant force for more than a decade, and he capped off a perfect week during the 2024 Biathlon World Championships and the Para-Nordic World Cup Finals. Tommy Osborne caught up with Mark about his incredible showing, not just in Prince George, but all over the world.
The last 2 weeks of the Caledonia Nordic Ski Hill have been the Rens show. The Hartsville PEI native swept all 3 individual events during last week's Para-Biathlon World Championships. An incredible showing that saw him miss only 1 of 20 shots across 4 rounds. Even more impressive is his 2nd consecutive Crystal Globe and 3rd of his 14-year career. The Crystal Globe is a trophy given to the International Paralympic Committee's top-performing athlete over an entire season, and to have another one on his trophy shelf is truly special.
It's just fantastic. You know, I was the last time I've now won 2 Globes back to back with my brother behind the scope, and I think that's pretty special as well. And it's been really special to also have my parents here watching both of their sons work and compete, if you will. So that's really special for them, and be able to win that in front of a home crowd. It just adds that little bit of memorable flair.
At 34 years old, Rens says he's never been better, and that's despite recovering from an injury and surgery where he had to remove bone spurs from his heels in 2022. Typically in sports, age and injury slow an athlete down, but Rens says it's only made him stronger.
I hadn't really taken a big break from my training from competition in many years. So taking that break, focusing on different aspects of my skiing, and that allowed me to really sharpen the efficiency of my skiing and bring that to the next level, especially my skating, and that's showing in the results now.
14 years into his career, Rens says he has even more in the tank, as he believes he's finally perfected the art of biathlon.
It's that fine balance. With biathlon, it's a really unique balance of the shooting and the skiing back and forth. And there are years or just weeks that one is stronger than the other, and it's about trying to get both of them together and bring them to that next level. And I think I've really found that a good match for both. Where times where my shooting was stronger or my skiing was stronger, and now both are, the strongest that I get them now.
In the immediate future, Rens can capture even more gold medals with events over the weekend. And he plans on continuing to perfect his craft for the next World Championships and potentially even more. Tommy Osborne, CKPG News.
The College of New Caledonia is taking food security to heart. It recently conducted a survey to identify what people know about growing food in the region and what they want to grow, with eyes at creating a new course. Cheryl Jan brings us the story.
The College of New Caledonia is looking into the possibility of sourcing food in this region, something that hasn't happened in years.
I just have a personal interest in being as sustainable as possible and having your own resources at home. And so I do a big garden at home, and I have chickens at home, and hopefully be raising some pigs this year.
Prince George and the entire north have seen the challenges of food supply. The fires of 2017, when Highway 97 was closed for days due to wildfires and the shelves were bare. People started to realize the importance of local sourcing for food production.
And they're also very much interested in food security, food sovereignty. So not only do they want to grow, they want to work on policy and opportunities to ensure that everybody has equitable access to good quality food.
So the question is, what can we grow in this city, from Pineview to Lower College Heights to the heart? And of course, some may question climate change.
A lot of different places can grow a lot of different things in Prince George. What we don't know is what people are actually able to grow. And people who like growing vegetables grow a lot of different things.
And it's that quest for learning that prompted Shelby Roberts to look at the idea of perhaps teaching people how to grow their own food.
I think that just the challenges that we faced between floods and supply chain issues and forest fires and having access to foods, we've come to rely so heavily on grocery stores. And when the grocery stores didn't have food, I think a lot of people came to the realization that maybe these old knowledges that we used to have for generations, we maybe necessarily don't have now.
And educating people on how to grow their own food is becoming more and more popular in some innovative ways.
Projects down in Seattle, for example, where if you have yard space, but for example, you got a bad knee and you can't garden yourself, you can co-op with people who will come in and share the produce. So there are lots of innovative ways of growing more food locally and ensuring that it gets around. We just really need to look at it. And what CNC is doing, what EAT is doing, what a number of other groups are doing is really collectively contributing to the solution.
Once the findings of the research are finished, the college will look at a feasibility study of future coursework on food security and crop cultivation. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
A researcher with UNBC has been awarded a very prestigious honor. Sarah DeLu has been doing research in northern BC for years and was named a research chair for her work. That has now been stepped up to a Tier 2 research chair level, which means her work will be international in nature and it's focused on arts and health.
You know, I think my research is sort of two-pronged, and one of the most exciting things that I love to do more than anything else in the world is to offer hands-on workshops to healthcare providers and to say, hey, listen, we do have these atrocities that are going on. And sometimes the atrocities are because you're burned out, you're exhausted, your heart is not feeling the kind of empathy and humility that we really need your heart to feel in the healthcare system. So what happens if we start to try to move your heart as well as your head? So those hands-on workshops are profound. We really watch people read poetry by queer Black women, by Indigenous scholars, and think like, oh my gosh, I just have not been coming at my work with patients in the most artful form possible. So that's sort of stream one of the research. But then, yes, you're absolutely right. Putting it into books and textbooks and classrooms and into the research public venue is another really important part of the research that I do.
For many families, spring break has begun, and some will be heading to the skies as part of their spring break travel plans. And YXS is already seeing an increase of travelers and will be expecting more over the next couple weeks. But there are some things to remember as you head to the airport.
The big reminder is just to give yourself a little bit of extra time. You've booked your flight, your accommodations, everything's good to go. You don't want to put that at risk by running late. Build a little bit of extra time into your plan. At this time of year, you've got a lot of folks that maybe aren't your regular travelers. This is their big spring break trip to Disneyland or Mexico. And so the screening process can take a little bit longer. You've got families with all kinds of car seats and stuff like that. So just build a little bit of extra time into your plan.
This week, we're shining the spotlight on a new action thriller remake, Roadhouse, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and UFC fighter Conor McGregor.
I got a tip for you. Don't let no one get this close.
Many will know the original Roadhouse film from 1989, starring Patrick Swayze. This reboot, though, is along the same lines. Ex-UFC fighter Dalton takes a job as a bouncer at a Florida Keys Roadhouse, only to discover that this paradise is not all as it seems.
I own a roadhouse out in the Florida Keys. Lately, it's been attracting the wrong clientele. I can pay you good money. Judging by your car, you need that.
Well, I like my car.
Think about it.
As a man trying to buy the property has goons coming in and destroying the bar in an attempt to force them out. And of course, this all leads up to a big old fight between Gyllenhaal and McGregor.
Hey, fellas. Looks like you're having a smashing night. Okay.
This movie isn't going to take home any Oscars next year, at least I don't think so, but it does promise to be an action-packed thrill ride with plenty of punching and some laughs as well, staying true to the original movie. The new Roadhouse premieres on March 21st on Amazon Prime Video.
Let me guess. Threaten me? Tell me to get out of town? I get the impression that you can't be threatened.
Once Knox is on the job, it's over, baby.
It takes a lot to get me angry, but when I am, I just can't let go. People seem a little aggressive around here.
As of this morning, the lowest gas price in Prince George was sitting at $1.55.9 per liter at Costco. The lowest price in the province right now is in Salmon Arm at $1.51.9 per liter. Manitoba has the lowest fuel prices on average in the country at $1.32.5 per litre, while BC has an average price of $1.81.2 per litre.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Feed your team tonight with a delicious mix-and-match combo. Chicken, pizza, pasta, or dessert for just $8.99 per item.
The Prince George Spruce Kings are back in action tonight, and they're back on home ice as well. For more on tonight's game, Anthony Correa caught up with Spruce Kings play-by-play announcer Jack Clark.
Prince George Spruce Kings back at home tonight, taking on the Merritt Centennials. For more on tonight's game, I bring in Jack Clark, voice of the Prince George Spruce Kings. Jack, let's start with Merritt. You know, what can this team, or what can the Spruce Kings expect from the Centennials?
Yeah, Merritt's a bit of a weird team to figure out right now because they made so many moves prior to the roster deadline. Like, they were the busiest team in the entire BCHL. I'm not just talking 1, 2, 3. I'm talking 6, 7, 8, up to 8 moves. Their roster's changed a lot since the last time they were here at the end of September. You know, of course, we saw them a few weeks ago in Merritt. Bit of a heartbreaking 3-2 loss, scoring in the final minute did the Centennials. So what to expect, though? I mean, a good game. These are two teams that are very similar. They play in similar sized arenas, or, you know, these kind of old school arenas with the bouncy boards and stuff like that. So when they come up here, they know how to play here. So it's going to be a good game, and I expect it to kind of be a full 60-minute good game, and that doesn't no real feeling out process.
You know, 6 games left for the Spruce Kings. You know, barring any kind of miracles, it kind of locked into that 8th seed. You know, hopefully they can pull up to the 7th seed there. But, you know, what do you kind of want to see from this team last final stretch of the season to, you know, tune up before playoffs?
Yeah, and, you know, it sounds obvious, but, like, the wins, because the team has been playing well. You know, they've been playing well. They've been competing with some of the best teams in, you know, our conference in the league, and it's just kind of been those bad bounces right at the end of games. And as I mentioned with that last game in Merritt a few weekends ago, you know, it was a minute left in the game when they scored the game winner. It's just things like that, kind of some bad bounces. Of course, you want to clean that up in your defensive end, no real turnovers or anything like that. But, you know, I think they're playing really well right now. I think the Spruce Kings are playing really well right now, and they just need to get on the scoreboard and be a little more productive on the scoreboard.
Probably pretty good to get back on home ice. Maybe tell me a little bit about the crowd. It sounds like a big one tonight.
Yeah, it's been a couple weekends since we were back here at Copar Memorial Arena. It's going to be a super exciting night. It's UNBC Athlete Appreciation Night, so we've got all the sports teams coming from UNBC, which is really exciting. You know, athletes from the Para-Nordic Championships are coming as well, so we're up over 1,200 people already. We all know what that feels like inside of Copar Memorial Arena. Still time to get your tickets, though, if you haven't gotten it yet. Walk-up tickets, those are always available too, so we're expecting a great crowd tonight.
There we go. Loud barn, small barn, and it should be a good one. Puck drop at 7 o'clock tonight.
More hockey news now. The 2 Caribou Cougars, have taken the next steps of their hockey career, heading to the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. The L'Orange Ice Wolves having 2 players from the Cougars U18 AAA program, announcing the additions of forwards Owen Wilkinson and Willem McKay for the 2024-25 season. Wilkinson, a Dawson Creek product, had 28 points in 27 games this year with the Cougars. McKay, meanwhile, who hails from Terrace, tallied 27 points in 31 games. Both teammates will be back in action this weekend as the team takes on the Vancouver Northeast Chiefs in round 2 of the BC EHL playoffs. The TSX is up 19 points to close at 21,849. The Dow Jones is down 191 points to close at 38,715. And Canfor went down 22 cents to close at $16.25.
Hi again, everybody. Lots of beautiful weather to talk about. High pressure dominant, and really the story of our weather for the next several days, going right into the early part of next week as well. Here's a look back on our AccuWeather Pacific satellite map, and again, really seeing the nice clearing through a lot of places throughout the province, and including our region here. Tomorrow, or even tonight, actually, we do have some fog that will develop again, but dissipating as we move through the morning. So clearing out as the day goes on. Might be more of a mix of sun and cloud to start things off, and then mainly sunny as we get into the afternoon. So here's our future cast. This is what it'll look like for the next several days, that's for sure. No disturbances, no precipitation moving into the province. It's all that warmer and drier air coming up from the south, and you'll see here what the result of that is. And of course, it's beautiful. It's sunshine. It's warmer weather, above average for this time of the year pretty much everywhere you go. The Peace, 12 degrees. We'll be sitting at about 12 or even 13 degrees as well tomorrow. So quite nice, very similar temperatures to what what we saw today. 16 in Kamloops, very warm there, even warmer as we get into parts of Sunday and Monday. And down through the southern part of the, well, this is the southern part of the province, of course, but the south coast area, really warm weather, especially inland. And again, away from the water, of course, those temperatures are going to feel a lot warmer. Across our broadcast region, we're sitting at about 15 tomorrow for a high in Quesnel. So really nice weather. 14 in sunshine in Vanderhoof, sunshine up through Fort St. James, Mackenzie, not quite as warm, but still very pleasant for this time of the year. So there's the west coast at 17, away from the water warmer, 9 in Edmonton. Through the prairies, it is a little bit cooler, certainly, and cloudier. We are going to see a few flurries falling through Winnipeg at -2, a high. 7 in Montreal, rainy over towards the eastern half of the country and the Maritimes as well, especially quite a cool and wet, dreary pattern for them. But for us, we'll enjoy this nice drying trend for at least a few days. Our sunny sky is going to persist through the next few days, and you can see early week it still hangs on, and then we're going to start to see this jet stream push down a little bit, push further south, and then some of that Arctic air, not Arctic air, but cooler air coming in just in time for the middle and end of next week. And that does show on our extended here. Burns Lake will see the temperature dropping down by Wednesday, but 9 degrees for Saturday. Monday is the strongest point of the ridge, so 12 degrees for you, mix of sun and cloud. Cooler tonight in Mackenzie, still overnight down below 0, up to 8 tomorrow, mild with sunshine, and then 11 degrees on Monday. So fantastic sunshine for the next few days. Lots of cloud cover starting to make its way back in, though, by Tuesday and Wednesday. In McBride, up to 15 for Sunday, Monday, really looking good right into Tuesday, and then a drastic change is on the way. Again, that's a little far out, but we are anticipating, at least at this point, to see some cooler air pushing into the province. It'll take hold of everywhere. So again, a bit of a shift in terms of our numbers by the middle of next week. Quesnel, 15 and 19 degrees the next couple of days. You could be up to about 20 by mid-afternoon. Plenty of sunshine expected. And for us, we're not far from it. I'd say we'd actually be warmer than some of these numbers here, maybe closer to 15 or 16 degrees in some areas, but 13 by Monday. So again, still hanging on to a nice trend going into the early part of next week, and then things will shift later on into the week.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Feed your team tonight with a delicious mix and match combo. Chicken, pizza, pasta, or dessert for just $8.99 per item.
As we wind down the Para-Nordic events, Caitlin Pobersnick had the chance to sit down with Kevin Pedersen, chair of the organizing committee, to chat about how these 2 weeks have gone and what to look forward to with the ski club in the future.
I'm sitting here with Kevin Pedersen, chair of organizing committee for Para-Nordics as a whole. Isn't it crazy that we were talking about this 6 months ago for the 6-month-out conference? Now it's over. Now it's finishing.
Yeah.
How does that feel to actually see it all just kind of like encapsulated? It's all done.
Yeah. No, it's it's amazing to get to this stage where you've hosted the events. You've had beautiful conditions and everything like that. But it's also a bit sad to see the event end after so much work, and it was so surreal to actually see it start. I couldn't believe when the first athlete left the starting gate, but the 2 weeks goes by so quickly, yeah, and but such an amazing experience, I think, for everybody.
From somebody who was just watching it from like an outside perspective, obviously we were here for 2 weeks, but I never really saw any hiccups. Like, there might have been hiccups in the back, and you guys did a good job of kind of hiding them, but from an outside perspective, everything looked like it ran really smooth.
Well, that's what we aim to do. Yeah, yeah. Of course, there's always a little kind of speed bumps and things like that. But I think that's the thing with these events. You kind of have to anticipate there'll be unexpected things, and the key is how to work through those. But yeah, we try to make everything look very, very smooth on the surface. But there's a lot of effort going on behind the scenes to make sure everything does look smooth.
With the future, again, happened in 2019. We've been talking about that. Happen now this year. Is there any hope that in the next few years you guys get to do this all over again?
Yeah, I mean, we have a long-term hosting plan, and so we look to host these world events every 4 or 5 years and national events every couple of years. So, I mean, I think from the discussions we've had with the representatives from the international federations, both from the International Biathlon Union and the International Ski Federation, they're very happy with what they see here. They see they see Prince George and Caledonia as being a key ingredient in their plans for hosting their world events. And so it's not so much that just any facility can host it. You know, they look for the depth in the organizing committee and everything like that, and the facility. And what we've done here, I think, again, has brought the magic and I think really caught the attention of the international federations.
Awesome. Well, always a pleasure, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much.
From the ski hill back to the studio now, Caitlin Pobersnick joins us as we wind down the Para-Nordic World Cup finals. So Caitlin, let's just recap. I know it was a training day today, but let's recap where we stand with the medals right now as this competition gets towards the end of the line, I guess.
Well, I said a few days ago I wasn't really sure if anybody was ever going to pass Ukraine. They've been dominating day in, day out. Here came Germany, popped up. So again, today was a training day, so obviously no medals were handed out. But that being said, Germany still sits, they're at 10. 4 gold, 2 silver, 4 bronze. Next in line, there's Ukraine with 9. Canada is in top 3 right now with 4, followed by Korea. So that's kind of where the top 4 is sitting at the moment. Canada still in that top 3, which is a great place for them to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, didn't think that anybody was going to surpass Ukraine in this entire thing.
Germany just proved you wrong.
Germany, right to the top.
So interesting stuff. So now as we head towards the last 2 days of this event, what are the last couple events to look forward to here as Canada's going to try to get a couple more medals, right?
Well, yeah, and as of tomorrow, it's going to be sprint skiing. So everybody's kind of excited that it's a pretty short day for them. Sprint's super fast, not a lot of people participating. They get to go home earlier in the afternoon. But then that's when Sunday rolls around. Cross country, that's the 20-kilometer races. That's going to take up a lot of the day, but that's a nice way to finish this entire thing by just having a full day with everybody, get to enjoy the sun. It was beautiful out there today. They had the music blasting. All the volunteers were still around because it was training, and so they were still on the course helping out. And so that looked like a pretty good day for everybody today. And I just want to mention too, I know a lot of people were interested in Brazil. Brazil actually has 2 medals right now. They're in that top group.
Nice.
So yeah, they have 2 bronze. And I was quite excited to see them in at least the top group. They aren't going home medalists, and that's, I mean, for Brazil, that's pretty good.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. So interesting how it's unfolded here medal-wise. Of course, we have 2 more days left in this competition, so we'll see how it all shakes down. Caitlin Pobersnick, thank you very much.
Of course.
And it's the best from Thursday's action featuring basketball and hockey at the highest level, all tonight's CKP3.
Starting with the disrespect.
Dylan. He just lost Butler. Yeah! Jalen Green and the look away.
Jalen Green sends his men falling, stares at him, and then knocks down the triple. Next, the bird flies in Raleigh.
H steps in on the plate. Chatfield looking across. Kuznetsov works and scores! Oh, take flight and Getty! 3-0 Carolina!
Evgeny Kuznetsov gets a fresh start with the Carolina Hurricanes, and after all that he's gone through, a smile is definitely warranted for his first goal. Finally, point times 3.
Now it's Brodzinski. Brodzinski turns it over. Here's Point with Kucherov. Back to Point, and he scores! Here's Hinman across. Point in, and he scores! Brandon Point, what a goal! Tie game again. Glove save, rebound Point on the backhand. Hits the post. Oh, Brayden Point comes up. He scores! Brandon Point with his 5th point of the night, and out come the Hats!
A hat trick for Brayden Point. He took over last night's game with his performance as the Tampa Star takes top spot in tonight's CKP3.
Hello from the CKPG Today side. A very happy early St. Patrick's Day to you. I'm saving my green for the big day. Today, wearing black to solemnly celebrate my mess up of pouring a Guinness I can't do it. Someone at the Black Clover, well, the bartender there, Olivia, very nice job at pouring Guinness. You're going to see that on the show today. The trick to getting that just right, the proper amount of foam and a little shamrock on the top. Pretty amazing stuff from the folks at the Black Clover. We'll talk to a real Irishman on the show. What else I got to throw at you? Yeah, you know what? A whole bunch of stuff, including Vilma versus Clinton and the YMCA as well. I'll throw it back to you over there. Do you know how to pour a Guinness? How long do you let the Guinness sit for before you pour the topper on? I'll guess. I'll let you guess.
All right, do I know how to pour a Guinness? Yes, in fact, I do, Caden Fanshawe. I was a bartender for many years during my college days, so let me enlighten you there, buddy. So you start at a 45-degree angle, you pour the Guinness to about 3/4 of the way up, then you let it sit for about 90 seconds, and then right when it's settled, you top it up vertically the last quarter way, and you end up with a perfect poured beer. There, you learn something new every day, Caden Fanshawe. That's all for tonight, folks. Thanks so much for joining us. And your last look tonight is scenes from training day today at Caledonia. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.